UAE is a paper tiger. They've got a bunch of guys, who are posturing. 85% of their military is mercenary. The real Emirati citizens, they're nothing. They're fat, obese, corrupt, pathetic individuals who live behind a facade of wealth, wealth generated, beauty. But the reality is that underneath it is a foundation that's very weak and fragile. And Iran could take out the UAE right now by taking out their desalinization plants, and Iran's proven that it can hit them anytime they want to. So the UAE exists only because Iran wants it to exist. That Iran will launch attacks and start seizing UAE territory. Iran's not playing around. The interesting thing about Iran during this this war is that every time Iran says they're going to do something, they do it. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so now, Iran said, if you come after us, we will take your territory. That's the reality. The UAE is a paper tiger. They've got a bunch of guys, who are posturing. 85% of their military is mercenary. The real Emirati citizens, they're nothing. They're fat, obese, corrupt, pathetic individuals who live behind a facade of wealth, wealth generated, beauty. But the reality is that underneath it is a foundation that's very weak and fragile. And Iran could take out the UAE right now by taking out their desalinization plants, and Iran's proven that it can hit them anytime they want to. So the UAE exists only because Iran wants it to exist. If the UAE starts, acting on their words, they'll cease to exist. And when you take out the desalinization, all of the expats leave, all of the workers leave, and you're left with a bunch of Arabs that don't know how to do anything other than sit upstairs, snort cocaine, and drink whiskey and pretend they'd be pious Muslims. These are horrible people, horrible human beings. And then they'll, die of thirst because all that's going to be left for them is oil. And I don't think oil tastes too good.
Yeah. Yeah. And Scott, there's other dynamics at play here in this war, even beyond the military and even beyond the economic realm of the Strait of Hormuz in terms of oil. Iran has said that they have instituted a toll on the Strait of Hormuz, and in that toll, they have actually instituted a policy where these tankers need to pay up in RMB. And there's some interesting numbers where RMB settlement activities on China's SIPs, which is how they do international conversions of currencies when they're transacting. That's actually been going way up as Iran is reporting that this toll is in place and letting ships in through this Strait of Hormuz as allowed. And then there's this other dynamic. I don't know if you saw this, and this has just been happening throughout the war, but even now where Iran is being bombed, and of course, the U.S. and Israel, they love decapitation. You have Iranian officials like Abbas Araghchi here. He goes out with the people and talks about how he is going out with the people to lift his spirits. And it's just a different mindset where you have the United States, a different reality where you have the United States, Donald Trump's administration struggling to not only justify this war, but there's no justifying away the reality that it's just not popular. Most Americans are not happy with what's happening economically, and a good majority of them are saying they don't support this. So what do you make of these developments outside of the military realm and how they are going to affect the overall trajectory moving forward?
Could you imagine Marco Rubio wandering the streets of Philadelphia, trying to just, tell people, hey, this war, they'd boo him out. They'd run him down. Let's not even talk about Donald Trump. I mean, we thought that the regime would collapse when we murdered Ali Khamenei, when the Israelis murdered him. Instead, the people every night, they're being lied to on a regular basis. And even MAGA, is starting to realize that it's all been a fraud, one giant fraud, one giant scam. A lot of people fell for it. Me, I'm the one who actually believed that this idiot was looking was going to pursue peace. How can you run on a campaign that says, I'm not going to go and get involved in, one of these endless wars in the Middle East, and then go get us involved in an endless war in the Middle East. I mean, crazy. But he'll never be trusted again, just like the Iranians will never trust him again. The American people will never trust Donald Trump again. He can't be trusted. When his lips move, he's lying. That's just it. He hasn't told the truth about anything. And it does, all these people on the internet, this is what I voted for. You're just exposing your own ignorance. But we're at the stage right now where the United States is not just losing the war in Iran, we're losing our position in the world. I mean, let's just look at a couple things that have happened, while this is going on. The 2025 National Security Strategy document, the United States talked about the Western Hemisphere. I call it Fortress America. And we're going to evict all those foreigners. And of course, we went into Venezuela, CIA bought everybody out, got Maduro out, and it looked like the plan was on the way, except, we got aging nuclear weapons. That's all we have. We got nothing left. This is an Iranian victory. The Iranians are responsible for the strategic defeat of the United States. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Well, as we head to the close here, Scott, just two final questions to you. One, what do you expect Donald Trump to say today? And then two, I want you to end the program with what you learned on your recent trip that can help us understand not only this war, but what's going on more broadly.
Well, Donald Trump's a con man, so I expect the great con. I expect him to come out and try and spin this conflict into the greatest military victory the United States has ever had. He's the greatest leader that's ever led the United States, and this is an amazing victory. And the American people should all be in the streets chanting USA, USA as we speak. But, if those Iranians don't accept this victory, then, of course, we will bomb them into the Stone Age. That's what I expect him to say. To talk about negotiations that don't exist, to talk about things that exist only in his mind. It'll be an embarrassment for him and for this administration and for the American people. That's it. I don't expect anything good out of this. More humiliation for the United States. You look at these guys and you're like, there's not a skinny guy amongst them. They're just all, because they're genetically bred to fight, not because they wanted that way. History created that. And yet these are some of the most peaceful people you'll ever meet. The most friendly people. If you're invited in as a guest, they will die before anything happens to you. That's just the way it is. People are like, why are you going to Chechnya? Don't you feel scared? Maybe the first time. But then you learn about their hospitality, and man, they are just, great hosts. But once you are brought in, you're under their protection. Nothing's going to happen to you. Car accident maybe, or if you're dumb walking across the street, but no harm will come to you. They will not allow that to happen. And they are assiduous in their protocols. It is fast. So I'm in the process of, we're going to be making this movie. I got to turn all of the interviews into transcripts, and then I got to review the transcripts and start clipping out the pieces and piecing it all together. It's a 90-minute documentary, but it'll be fascinating. And then I'm going to publish the rest of the interviews. What's not used in the documentary we'll publish as a standalone interview. We interviewed the Grand Mufti. We interviewed, two ministers of culture. We interviewed the Prime Minister of Chechnya, Lord. That's his call sign. Interviewed the commander of Chechen forces in Syria, talking about that initial deployment. Got to speak to the commander of Chechen forces that fought in the Battle of Mariupol and the early battles of that liberated Lugansk. This was just a awe-inspiring tour. I would just want to say I'm grateful to everybody who supported this, because this took place only because people went to my Substack page and hit the donate button, and it's because of you that this trip took place. It's because of you that the movie is going to be made. And I also negotiated successfully for an amazing follow-on trip in June that I can't talk about except to say, wow. Keep supporting, because it's what makes this happen. And this Chechen film, the Chechens said nobody's ever done this before for them. Nobody's ever come in and tried to tell their story. and they're very anxious to see a good job, or maybe the protection won't be there. But they're very anxious to see what the product of this is, how a foreigner views this, and if the film's good enough, I plan on submitting it to the Moscow Film Festival and get it seen on an international stage.